morning, students. Today we are starting with our first lecture of science on the chapter Plant Classification. So, students, as we all know that every plant grow in their unique condition. We cannot grow every plant everywhere. So, the plants that require a special condition to survive, to grow, is known as its habitat. It means every plant required a place and a special condition to grow and to survive. That place is known as habitat. So, we will discuss this term habitat in detail. The define is the surroundings in which plants grow and are commonly found is known as natural habitat. It means natural habitat is that habitat where the plants commonly found and commonly grow. That habitat gives food, water, shelter to the plant to live. Like an organism also need all of these things to live properly in its habitat. We all know that a variety of plants are there on the earth. Most of the plant grow in water and most of the plant grow on land. So students, the plants are divided into two categories: terrestrial plants and aquatic plants. Terrestrial plants are those plants which grow on water. Mainly that plants we see nearby our houses are all our terrestrial plants because that plants are grown on land. Next is aquatic plants. Plants that grow in water like lotus, water lily, all these plants are grow in water. So these plants are known as aquatic plants. You can see in this pictures on the left side there is a terrestrial plant and on the right side there is a aquatic plant. Now let's study about terrestrial plants. As we all know that 70% of our earth's surface is covered with water. So only there is 30% land on which terrestrial plants grow. But we all know that land area of different regions differ due to climate condition. Everywhere the climate is different. Our earth has hills, mountains, deserts, plains and forests. So the region which have a very cold climate experiences snowfall, while in some areas there is heavy rainfall takes place. So on the earth there is a variety of climate present. So the plants that grow in different land regions also differ from each other in the climate condition. So first we study about the classification of terrestrial plants. As you can see in the picture, there is a palm trees, means plants on the sea coast near the sea area. Next is mango tree, plants in the heavy rainfall area, means where the rainfall takes place heavily. Next is pine trees. Pines means the plants that found in hills and mountains. Next is cactus. Cactus is a plant mainly found in desert area. Next is teak plant. This plant naturally found in the plains. Next is mangrove trees. These are basically found in the marshes region or the swampy region. So we will study all of these in detail. Plants that grow on hills and mountains. Basically hilly areas and mountains have snowfall, as we all know that, and therefore that area gets lesser sunlight. The plants that grow in that hilly areas are generally very tall, but they are thin. So they can easily trap the sunlight. They have sloping branches so that snow can easily slide off. So these are called coniferous plants because of the shape of the plant. They are shaped like a cone and their fruits are called cones. They also have needle-like leaves with waxy coating. Their leaves are covered with wax which help them to survive in the extreme cold weather and snow that falls on them. Means this waxy coating protect the leaves from the extreme cold weather. As you can see in the picture, this is a pine tree and there is a cones bearing seed, and in these cones needle shaped wax coated leaves you can see in the picture. Ferns, you can see ferns, moss, deodar tree. Next is plant that grow in the plains. Students, the trees which grow in the plains have a lot of leaves, a solid stem, and several branches. We all know that. Leaves of these trees are thin and flat. Why they are thin and flat? Because this structure helps them in transpiration. The question arises, what is transpiration? Beta, the transpiration is the continuous process caused by the evaporation of water in the leaves. Evaporation of water from the leaves, and it helps them to absorb water from the roots, from the soil. So they transpire more than the leaves of the plant that grow on hills and mountains. These trees bear heat, give shade during summer. In summer, as we all know that when we feel hot, we mainly sit under a tree because that tree gives us shade. But they shed their leaves in autumn. As we all know that in the season of autumn, the trees shed their leaves and new leaves grow again in the spring. Next is plant that grow in desert. As we all know that in desert area there is a scarcity of water. So these plants that grow in these areas have spines. They do not have leaves. They have spines or thorns. This is an adaptation to reduce water. Why they have thorns? Because this helps them to save their water loss through the process of transpiration. As we have discussed earlier, what is transpiration? Continuous process by which evaporation of water from the leaves take place. So these leaves of the plant are modified into spines and thorns so that loss of water does not take place because there is already scarcity in that area, in the desert area. So these are the examples of the desert plants. These plants, all the desert plants have green flashy stem to store water. It means the water is stored in the stem so that they are easily survive in the desert area. They also have a long root in search of water. They search water deep inside the soil, so they have a long root, and their fleshy green stem carries out the photosynthesis. For example, in cactus plant, the photosynthesis is taken out by the stem, which is green in color. In normal areas, where does the photosynthesis take place? In the leaves. But in desert area, photosynthesis takes place in the stem, the green fleshy stem.